So let's look at number 1 here. An article reports attendance increased 12% this year to 5,278. What was the attendance before the increase? Okay, now I introduced in this section kind of a shortcut to an increase. You take whatever your original amount is. So let's just, I'll call it ORIG for original amount. And then you multiply that by 1 plus whatever our percentage is. So we're increasing by 12%, so that's the percentage we'll be talking about in this case, but I'm just going to abbreviate that percentage. And that will be equal to the value you have after the increase. So we'll call it the increased amount. So here, okay, so let's fill in. We don't have the original amount, we have the increased amount. So I'm going to have 1 plus my percent as a decimal, 12%, and I'll continue to call this original. 1 plus 12% as a decimal, which will be 0.12. And our increased amount, our amount after the increase, is the 5278. So we're going to end up solving an equation here. Now, let's just, for the sake of solving an equation, change this original to, I don't want to change it to O because it will look like a 0. So let's change it to, I'll change it to the second letter R. So we'll call the original R just for the sake of a variable. All right, now 1 plus 0.12 is 1.12. Equal to 5278. And then let's realize that 1.12, we're used to seeing it in front of the variables, so just to make it easier to think about, I'm just going to switch their positions. My 2 doesn't look much like a 2 there, but that is a 2. All right, so 1.12 times R equals this. Now let's remember from algebra to solve an equation, all we do is divide by the number that's with our variable if it's multiplication. So let's divide by 1.12 on both sides, of course. And so now to find out what R is, all I need to do is that division right there. And I get 47, 12, and 50. 0.5. All right, so our original amount is 4712.5, and of course at any time we can check ourselves on here if this will let me. Let's see, maybe it's still not letting me just come out of it. Maybe if it'll take away that, but I'll bring it back in a second. And oh yeah, round to the nearest whole number, so 4713. All right, so let's just come back to this and let's go down to, I think I've already made a video for someone on number 2, so I will send that one to you. Number 8 is just like number 2. So again, I'll that's it, that video that I made, so I'll send that. Let's go to number 10. Okay, so company sales decreased 17% this year to 6467. What were their sales last year? Now this is similar to the one that I just did, except to decrease, we're going to say 1 minus our percentage. So again, I'll just sort of write this out. We want the original amount, which I'll kind of abbreviate as ORIG, and we're going to multiply that times, since it's a decrease, 1 minus our percentage. There. And then that's going to be equal to our final amount. Now, in this case, we're being given the final amount. Let's notice the 6467 is the amount after the decrease has occurred. So let's fill in. Again, just instead of putting O, I'm going to go ahead and call it R just because I don't want to call it O and have that look like a 0. We don't know the original amount, so we'll call it R. And then our percent in this instance is 17% as a decimal, that's 0.17. And the final amount is the 6467. So just like we did with the one that I just worked before, we need to solve an equation. Now let's first notice that 1 minus 0.17 is going to be 0.83. And again, remember, you can think of this as the 0.83 in front of the R if you want to. No reason to rewrite it like this, though. If you don't want to, you can go straight to this next step. We want to get rid of the number in front of R, so we divide it out. And then I'll stick that thing into the calculator and see what the original amount was before the discount. And that's going to end up being 779157. And I'm rounding, since it says round to the nearest penny. So it actually has more decimal places past that, but it's 0.566265, and that would round to 0.57 there. And that's our original amount. And of course, your original amount before the decrease should be more than this right here. And let's see if it'll let me show that amount. And of course, we see that's exactly what we got. Now I'll bring this back for us in case you weren't through writing that down. Now, number 11 is exactly the same idea. So the difference between 10 and 11 is that instead of the 17%, you'll have 9%. So 0.09 right here. And instead of the 6467, you'll have 6923 right here. And you'll rework number 11 in the same fashion. And let me move on down. And we'll see if there was an additional one here. Okay, so number 18. So let's take a look at this one. Again, I'll bring forward this. Oops. All right, so we have a payday loan company charges a $70 fee for a $650 payday loan that will be repaid in 17 days. Treating the fee as interest paid, what is the equivalent annual interest rate? I actually made a video over this one as well, so I'm going to send that video to you rather than doing that again.